Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is a pre-market webinar for the morning of Tuesday, the 8th of April. We do this for education purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it and transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, let's have a look at ES. Now, I was having a look at the stats yesterday and I'm going to be publishing those today, but the stats for basically having the two very rare things that happened last week, which were that we punch below the weekly lower 3SD lower band, and we saw a decline of 10% in 2 days. Unfortunately, the stats are rather unclear. There are a number of things we could do from here. I was hoping for something more definite. I know what I would like to happen from here, and it looks as though we've started doing that. But to be honest, there's not an awful lot of I would like some more statistical support for it, and I haven't got it. To a certain extent, we're flying blind in this area here, but I know what I would like to happen. I'll lay that out. But statistically, I'll lay those stats out in our post today. But statistically, there's a lot of uncertainty here, mainly because last week was such a black swan event that these kind of black swans, there haven't been that many of them, and they've all tend to be very varied in their causes, and some of them have gone down considerably afterwards and done that directly. Okay, but for the moment, we don't have any buy signals here. We didn't get that retest of the low I was hoping for yesterday morning, but we rallied up about 400 handles from the low, and I'm thinking that may do more. I will talk about that on the RTH charts. On NQ, wait a second. Right. Okay. Sorry, this is cool. It's proving rather persistent. Okay, right. On NQ, exactly the same. Seeing a bounce. ES, NQ, and RTY, and YM may all be forming head and shoulder, right shoulders here. And that's what I hope they're doing, because that would give us some direction for the rest of the move. They may not do that, though, and the stats are really very unclear on it. We've got the week 60-minute buy signal. We had one on RTY that's reached the possible near miss target or is reaching it. Again, looking for some more from here. YM, we didn't get a buy signal, but nice looking rally. Wondering about tests of the weekly pivots here and wondering whether those might be resistance. YM, we're short of it. We reached it yesterday, and it was resistance on RTY. We're getting close to it on ES. We're getting close to it we reached it yesterday on NQ. I'm thinking we might get some resistance there, but I would like to see it go higher. DAX and the STX, we did have buy signals. Those are both in progress, and neither of them has made target yet. Obviously, we had this spike up off the low yesterday, and then we're still recovering that. I'd expect to see a higher high. These may all be bear flags forming. All right, looking at the bigger picture charts. Bear with me a moment. Oh, okay, sorry, wrong one. No, I'm certain I've got that up. Hang on. Oh, right, okay, hang on. Sorry, my screens are obscured. All right, okay, let's have a look at the ES chart and SPX daily chart, where we got down to and went slightly below. I've got two head and shoulder necklines here, and we went below the second one. Now, does that mean we can't form a head and shoulders? No, it doesn't mean that at all. So I've got, ideally, we're forming a downsloping head and shoulders here, and the ideal right shoulder high would be in about the 5264 area. So on ES, that would be in about the 5300 area. That looks doable. So in terms of ideally, we'd be looking at a rally that would take at least a week. It could potentially be shorter, but that would weaken the pattern if it was. No current divergence on the daily charts. Looking at the hourly chart, we didn't get any divergence either. And again, there's no really strong back test here. We lost all the support trend lines, which was very good news, because that was going to restrict the ability to go down. But we didn't really get an awful lot. We still got an RSI 14 buy signal fixed here, and we had one fixed on the RSI 5 on the 15-minute, which has already made target. I'm leaning towards that making target, but this is a very, very news-sensitive market. So Nice looking rally here, could well deliver. I'd like it to last at least a week and get another, get up into about the 5,300 area. But if we could get knocked out by news, but I think we've had most of the bad news already. We will see how that goes. Looking at the Qs, again, we went a little lower than was ideal, but not much. For the head and shoulders, I'd like to see a right shoulder form here. Ideally, that would get back up into about the 447 area, and we got pretty close to that yesterday, actually. We just need to go up another 10 points or so to get to the ideal. Looking at Dire, Dire, again, went slightly lower, but not much lower than the ideal head and shoulder neckline, and I'm leaning towards seeing a right shoulder form here. Ideal high would be in about the 393 area. IWM, we don't have anything. We didn't have a potential pattern to form there. So keeping an open mind, I do have a possible. I've still just about got a possible RSI 14 buy signal brewing, which I'm not really expecting to deliver. But I'm watching to see whether we will get a higher bounce. But I haven't really got a strong target for that bounce, apart from possibly a test of this declining resistance, which I've got in about the 201 area. Looking at DAX, DAX obviously broke down and really made the double top target with an awful lot of confidence. We really went down there. Nice looking rally off the low. I'm leaning towards seeing lower. We did see all these rising support trend lines from the 2023 low. I think they've all broken now. I am leaning towards seeing more downside, but we don't yet have a target. The right shoulder, if we see one on the other indices, would give us a target area, which would be very, very nice to see. Looking at Nikkei, this has gone down to the retest of the 31.2 area. I'm wondering if this might be possibly a bull flag, but it wouldn't be a great bull flag even if it was. But I'm watching out for that, and I'll be drawing trend lines for it. All right, let's have a look at DX. Okay, DX, we've got a little rally here. I'm expecting to see downside. I'm expecting to see quite a lot more downside. I'm going to be doing a post over the next day or two looking at that on the bigger picture Substack. So I think this is where we head down to 96, 97. We've got a big inflection point there, which we could break down directly from. ZB, we've seen a sharp retracement here as we have been rallying. At the moment, this is still a flight to safety trade, and I'm thinking after a few days, we're likely to start going down again on equities, and we may well see a retest of this high, and we may well see higher. I do have a potential target quite a lot higher. I'm going to see if I can get two of the bigger picture posts out this week, one of them looking at bonds, one of them looking at US dollar. CL, we may be breaking back below the support here. Now, if we're going into recession, obviously that's going to affect demand. And that is something to think about, because it may be that we're going to start converting. I was looking for this retest of 63.57 for a long time. I'm wondering if that's going to convert into support and into resistance. We'll see. We're currently on a 60-minute buy signal, and we may be forming a bear flag. NG, I've got a potential double bottom here. Keeping an open mind, NG won't be unaffected by a slowdown in the economy, but I've still got this. It still looks like a bull flag. It's still breaking up. This is still a potential double bottom. That could get us back into the retest of this high here at 4.95. And I've got a really lovely target at 5.75, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to make target. GC, we've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. We've got a little double bottom here, setting up a retest of the high. I'm thinking it might just go get it. We will see. But I'm liking the downside here. I don't have a bearish pattern. There are no targets below. SI had a hell of a shock last week. Again, is rallying a bit. This could just be a bear flag forming, but I am wondering about gold retesting the high. HG, this is not looking good. So it doesn't really have a pattern to the downside yet, although I do have a bigger picture one I'll be talking about in the bigger picture webinar tomorrow. But I was saying that in the event the economy is going to slow down, which looks very likely, copper will tend to go down. It is very strongly linked to the economy and economic activity. Right, nothing really much to see on the currencies. Nice little double bottom on NZ, but nothing really that counts as news. KC, this has finally got down to 335 area that I was talking about, and this would the ideal trend line hasn't quite been reached yet. I've got that in about the 332 area, and I'm thinking that may well need to be reached but this is a nice looking bull flag, and this is what I was talking about. I'm not expecting KC to be much affected by overall economic activity. So I think this is just on the track it would have been anyway. SB, this could be a bull flag forming again. This is a potential double bottom here. I'm keeping an open mind. It wouldn't surprise me an awful lot to see this break down into considerably lower targets. The bigger picture chart is wondering about that. Okay, we are coming back into a retest of the low, it looks like, on CC. This means that the IHS that I was looking at as a potential yesterday isn't delivering. Keeping an open mind, we've got a possible weak 60-minute buy signal brewing here on wheat. Still looking at a potential level bottom. On corn, still looking at a potential level bottom. On soy, which of course has been heavily affected by the tariff issues between the US and China, because China is a very big market for this. We've gone down, retested the low. This is a potential bottoming pattern forming, but it wouldn't surprise me to see it go considerably lower. On cotton, cotton, nice looking rally here. I'm leaning towards this being a double bottom with this as resistance up here in the 68.7 area. Lumber could go considerably lower. I've got this a double top breaking down on this on the daily chart. On live cattle, we've got a double top that's broken down with a target in the 191.5 area, and I'm thinking that likely makes target. And on lean hogs, we've got a potential level bottom here, and watching to see whether that will deliver anything. All right, let's have a look at questions, of which we have none. Okay, we're kind of off the chart here. I was having a look at the stats, and the stats for a touch of the 3SD lower band are actually an awful lot more bullish than the ones for a punch. I'll publish those today. What I'm leaning towards is forming the right shoulder highs. Is this partially because I want to see a roadmap form to take us lower? Yes, it is. And the fact is, the market doesn't take requests, but at the moment, it looks as though we may be forming those head and shoulder right shoulders, and fingers crossed that's what we'll continue doing. If that's the case, we don't need to go up an awful lot longer, but we should really see a rally which lasts the whole of this week. That would be very encouraging to see. All right, brilliant. All right, catch you guys tomorrow morning. My pleasure as always.